Welcome to another unit in this Excel course. This time I'm going to talk about the command text into columns. Well, basically this could also mean how to actually make sense of a CSV file, so comma separate value files. Because in some cases, if you download data from the internet in particular, you might get data like this. So where all of my data sources are just situated in the first column and all the entries are just separated by commas. Well, if this is the case, you cannot do anything with this unless you actually split this up into different columns. And that's actually the command I want to take a closer look at. So what we're going to do here is go to the menu Data, and here we have with Data Tools on the left, Text to Columns. So for this, first we select the corresponding column which contains all the data. So usually this is column A. Click on Text to Columns. Then we can decide, do we have a delimiter, like the comma here, or a fixed width? So it's always like 3 entries, 3 entries, 3 entries. Usually we have a delimiter. So at the next page, we can actually tell him which delimiter to consider. So here, that's actually the comma for the comma separated files. And well, down here in the data preview, you already see whether your selected delimiter works as it should be. Here in this case, this looks decent enough. So if this looks good, you can go to next, and then you can actually tell him what is the data format for each of the different columns he will generate. This makes particular sense if you want to assure that he actually interprets this as numbers and not as text. Because if you go with general, many cases will just assume this to be text. If I just click finish without checking anything in particular, well, here this worked perfectly. This is also the reason because, well, if I just check this, normal numbers in my Excel version actually have as a decimal point the point. If, however, you use a data set where the decimal point is actually the comma, this might be interpreted as text. This could be the problem if you use this function text to columns. So if actually your data set would have a different decimal point, you might have a problem. Well, usually you have the problem if you use a European Excel and try to open an American version data set, because then your decimal point would be the comma and you try to use this in the context of a CSV where the delimiter is the comma. So if you want to get rid of this problem, you can also go back to the text and column. Well, here I don't get any decent results, but just to show you. And you can here in this context with advanced also tell him what is the decimal separator, what's the thousand separator, so that he actually can see and transform this correctly. As I said, usually this is only a problem if you work with an European version of Excel with not taking specific care that the dot is actually the decimal point. Here I'm using the German version for Excel, but I still took care in beforehand. So for my version, the dot is actually the decimal point. So here in this version works. If I would have done a different version, might have problems if I just try to import this in this way. And well, now I have my different data series here, my different variables, and I can actually start working with them. Only thing I need to consider, if I save this, I shouldn't just click on save because then still a CSV. So I should go with save as and save this as a normal Excel file. And well, that's then all there is on this topic on using this command text to columns. So I hope you could learn something from this. You enjoyed listening to it. And if you're looking for additional input on Excel, feel free to visit the rest of the course or have a look at the corresponding playlist. I say goodbye and see you next time.